Good evening. Welcome back for the final session here at the Royal Commonwealth Pool of the Scottish Winter Short Course Meet. I'm Duncan McKinnell and I'll be taking you through the action, and I'm delighted that former Commonwealth Games athlete Cameron Brodie joins me tonight in the commentary box. Welcome, Cameron. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Goodness, it's exciting to be here. This is the first competition that I've seen, in person in a long time. So yeah, very exciting.
Well, COVID might have had something to do with that. We've had 2 2/3 days of excellent competition here at the Commonwealth Pool, and we're looking for a big climax tonight with some excellent swimming, I think, coming our way this evening. That's what's coming off. We start with a swim off, and you may remember, if you were watching last night, we had Travis Davey of Dundee City Aquatics in a swim off on the 50, I think it was 50 back from memory, and he's in another one here in the men's 100 butterfly up against Conrad Slesser, this time of Aberdeen Performance. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll go to something very different, the women's 1500 freestyle, fastest heat there. And we've got the likes of Meg Finnan and Michaela Glenister, the two Stirling swimmers, going in that. Follow that with men's 200 IM. So we saw a superb 400 IM battle between Evan Jones and Angus Allison. And I think they'll be at it again here. And there's maybe some others who challenge them as well. Igor Suvalov, the Estonian, and the young Matthew Ward from Mount Kelly College as well. So that one, I think, could be quite interesting. Cameron?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Matthew race. He's been on fire so far this meet. And yeah, I think a 200 IM is really exciting. That's quite early on in the schedule. And I'm looking at the 100 backstroke as well for men. That's stacked, actually. Maybe kind of 3 or 4 guys all go for that 51 mark.
Yeah, we saw that fantastic battle in the 50 backstroke yesterday, where we had Martin Walton and Scott Gibson going head-to-head. Scott had got the Scottish record in the heats, but it was Martin that nicked it. So Scott will be out for revenge. But then there's Craig McNally as well, the very experienced, of course, 200 winner already. 200 probably his main event, but he can go down to 100 pretty handily.
Would you call him a veteran? Is he a veteran of this event?
I think so.
Yeah, he certainly swam in plenty of these events. He knows how to do it. I think he might get the job done. He's clearly on form.
Then talking about veterans, right at the end of the evening, we've got Stephen Milne, who's really looked in good form this weekend. He's, of course, Olympian from Rio. He has done many a good turn swimming for Scotland and swimming for GB over the years, and it's great to see him showing some really good form this weekend. And so it'd be great to have the meet finish off with a very strong performance from him. Also Jack Munsey in that one, who is 9 years younger than him, and be going side by side with them, the two from University of Stirling. So that's going to be a great way to finish off.
They'll know each other quite well, training together. Jack just moved there this year, but yeah, Stephen's very experienced, and well, his heat time in the heat was really rather fast. So yeah, I expect him to win that, obviously.
And the other connection with those two, both moved down from Perth.
Of course.
Yeah, there's a common Anne Dixon connection there, head coach at Perth City. But here we go, you can see we've got the two swimmers for the swim off at the blocks. They're just testing out the starting system before we get going. So it's going to be Conrad Slesser of Aberdeen Performance against Travis Davey, and this is for a place in the youth final in the men's 100 butterfly. There's confirmation of the two swimmers. I can tell you that they did a 59.57 in the heats this morning. So they will nearly always they go faster in a swim off, just the adrenaline of the swim off and that head-to-head battle. Maybe we should have more head-to-head battles in swimming. That'd be good, eh?
Did they used to do skins here?
Not in the short course, I don't think. Edinburgh International comes here in March, does skins, and hopefully the Edinburgh International will be back this coming March, COVID permitting, as everything is nowadays. But yes, this will be head-to-head.
And they don't have that long to turn things around after whoever wins this one into the third 100 fly of the day. Not too long.
That's true, although they've got that 1500, so that will eat up a fair amount of time. So so they get a decent amount of recovery time. We've got the great facility here with the 6x25 pool. That's the diving pool. It converts very nicely into a good swim down facility, so he can get back into that and work off any lactic and then get himself sorted before he has to go back to the call room. They are just holding these swimmers at the moment. I'm not sure quite why. It's because we should have been away by now. But let's hope it's not going to be too long of a delay. These swimmers don't want to be standing there at the blocks. They just want to get into the water and get the job done. But I'm sure we'll be away. Oh, looks like the whistle's going, and we're going to be off. So just to confirm, it's Conrad Slesser in the dark University of Aberdeen cap, and Dundee City's green cap, Travis Davey in lane 5. So the two of them off, and Travis just a bit sharper off the blocks there, just gave him a slight advantage, but well, looks like Conrad has got that back already. And again, though, the turns, so contrasts here. So based on that one anyway, superior turn from Travis and maybe faster swimming from Conrad. Absolutely together there, just 600ths between them. What about those turns? You know all about butterfly turns, Cameron?
Yeah, fabulous turns there. I actually quite like both of them. They're both quite good, but the push off that Travis is getting is, looks really, really strong there.
And that usually pays off as the swim progresses, and it certainly looks like Travis Davey is going to take his second swim off of the meet. He won yesterday and he's going to win in the end pretty comfortably. Look at that, 58.18. So 59.57 was their time in the morning heats. Kicks that down to 58.18. Well, as I said before, they must love swim offs because it gives them every chance of a good PV, doesn't it? Every time that happens.
It is, and they only have to focus on one lane, the guy right next to them. And it was brilliant swim, knocking a second and a half off the time only a few hours ago this morning. So let's see if he can go faster tonight again. Yeah,
quite often they don't go as fast in the final that they qualified for. Yes. So, well, Travis, prove us wrong on that one. Let's see what you can do. So he'll be going in the youth final of the 100 butterfly as we see the fastest heat, the 1500 freestyle, make their way to the blocks. And we've got 8 swimmers going here. Mari Craig goes in lane 1 for Sterling Swim. In 2 is Olivia Mason of Warrender Baths. Kaylin Hall in lane 3 for University of Aberdeen Performance Team. Michaela Glenister at University of Stirling in lane 4. Meg Finnan in 5 for University of Stirling, and lane 6 Ella Thatcher Plant of Edinburgh University, Holly McGill of Hearts in 7, and Natasha Simpson of Warrender in 8. So Michaela Glenister, winner of the 800 freestyle, so she's looking for the distance double. Meg was second behind her. But it was a pretty good contest in the 800 for 2 of them. And you can see that 16:40 entry time Michaela, 16:52 entry time for Meg. So 12 seconds on paper separating them. And the next fastest, Kaylin Hall, 17-year-old from University of Aberdeen, 17:05 entry time. And Ella Thatcher Plant, 17:12. Good start from Kaylin Hall in lane 3, although now through the turn, Michaela Glenister and Meg Finnan starting to push on, particularly Meg in lane 5, who's starting strongly here.
This is good. You can't win the race in the first 50, but you can certainly lose it by going out too hard. But it looks like these girls are slipping into a good steady rhythm.
I mean, certainly the 2 Stirling ladies, Michaela and Meg, are pretty experienced, I think, at this, and they'll know exactly what their race strategy is, I'm sure. But it's interesting that Meg is pushing it out hard here. Has a very strong pedigree as a distance swimmer. grew up in the East Kilbride program under Coach Andy Figgins, then went off to America for a few years, now back in the University of Stirling. It's great to have her back. And 101.95 for her at the 100, leads by 8/10. Second, Michaela Glenister. Third, Kaylin Hall.
And with this event, I think it was really key is just keeping that stroke rate consistent throughout the whole race. You don't want to slow down as the race goes on, and even probably build that middle 500, and then that last 500 is just a real big effort.
So in this phase, still fairly early on, it's just about getting into a rhythm and finding something that you can metronomically repeat length after length.
It's difficult when you're leading, but if you're not, you can have that, you've got that carrot out in front of you, and you can just latch onto them and hopefully rein them back in length after length. But so it's tricky being a front runner in a race like this.
So approaching 200. Meg 2:07.92, so pretty much spot on 66 split, and an advantage of just over a second over Michaela. Well, Michaela, you think then be fairly content to be sitting on the toes of Meg at this point? Or would she rather be ahead?
With those two girls training together, they'll know roughly. I'm sure they've got an idea of what each other's tactics are. And yeah, that's a really good tactic. Maybe just sitting on the feet and letting the other one kind of lead out the race.
So is there such a thing as a slipstream in this?
Maybe not in an event like this. But those big guys, when they're doing a 50 free and there's a lot of wash going on, I think there is an effect that you can get.
I know they talked about Duncan Scott riding the wave, didn't they, in the World Championships, I think that was.
Of course.
In the relay. But this is a different story. 1.7 the gap now, 3:14.11, so still maintaining pretty consistent pacing, just over the 66. And Michaela pretty much going at the same pace, just dropping back a little bit. When would you start getting worried if that gap increases? When it gets maybe to 7 or 8 meters, is that a sort of point where you think, hang on, I can't let this grow any further?
Yeah, the point at which it kind of drops out of your peripheral vision. I remember not that I did too many 1500s, but you always want to be within touching distance, and if you can just see them, then that's that target. The point at which you lose them, sometimes you can just end up drifting off into your own. You need to keep the pressure up in these races.
So certainly Meg Finnan looks like she means business here. It's the other interesting thing when they're in the same program is I guess they want to keep their own race tactics secret from their teammate. So another 66 and change ticked off there, so very, very consistent, and the gap has grown. It's now up to over 2.5 seconds. So I think Michaela might be just getting a little bit concerned about this, that Meg is just getting away from her a bit. Still on her own in third place, Kaylin Hall. So she's got to swim her own race, really. She's detached from the leading two, but well clear of any threat behind her. So
quite a few of these girls are stepping up immediately afterwards into the 200 free, so it's going to be a tricky hour for them this next wee while.
Yes, that is a big challenge. I guess that is the issue with a 3-day meet, isn't it? You've either got to just limit your swims or swim through it and take the pain.
I think that's the beauty of these events. You can see it either way, but I love short course racing. I think this period before Christmas is all about just building strength and stamina, and racing as many events. Racing 2, 3, 4 swims in a session is a really good way of testing yourself and putting yourself in places which you don't often get there in training. So you can do it in races. It's a good reason.
So the gap is continuing to grow now, 3.5 seconds between Meg and Michaela, and still it's the 66s being clicked off metronomically by Meg. So this is impressive stuff from her into this second 500 that you were talking about earlier, Cameron.
Yep, so there's 12 seconds difference in their entry times. So we'll see how that ends up. But 3.5 seconds at the 500 mark maybe suggests that it's going to be a touch closer than that.
But of course, it's 12 seconds in Michaela's favour, not Meg's. So
of course, of course.
So yes, so it's quite a turnaround at the moment. And Michaela certainly looked in good form in the 800. So I wouldn't write her off just yet. So we're looking for something like 6:33 here, and just off that 6:34.05. Yeah, probably 6:34 was more realistic. So looking good still here. 6:37.66 for Michaela. So still 3.5 seconds. That's what it was 100 meters ago. So maybe signs now that she's holding that gap. We'll keep an eye on that as this race progresses, because she's still got plenty of time to bring it back if she can find another gear, assuming that Meg maintains this pace. But in fact, the gap slightly increased in that last 50, over 4 seconds now. I always feel in short course racing on the 1500 must be awful discouraging looking at that lap card and seeing 50 something or 40 something. It's like, for goodness sake. At least on a long course, you start at 30.
It's long lengths in a 1500, though, long course. That length just goes on forever and ever and ever.
Well, that's true.
At least at short course, you've got turns to look forward to almost.
Yeah, I guess that's right. So already now we're starting the lapping process with Ella Thatcher-Plant is going to be first to come in lane 6. So that didn't take too long. We're just coming up to halfway now. And Meg breezes past Ella. And so that's the halfway split, 8:14.22. So could she negative split? 16:28 if she could.
Maybe. I like how she looks at the moment. I'm also really impressed with her turns. There's a very quick kind of rotation speed. Not a great deal of underwater work going on. You wouldn't necessarily expect that within a 1500, but the rotation speed is, just making every length turn into a little bit quicker.
So if you were Ledecky or somebody like that, would you be using sort of 10 or up to the 15 of underwater, or would you also be doing short?
I think generally it's pretty short, just 2 or 3, powerful kicks and get back up into your stroke. It's very unlikely that you'll be pushing things to 10 or 15. It's a long way to be swimming hypoxically.
So just get an update, 9:21 at the 8:50 and 9:26. So that lead now over 5.5 seconds. So it is continuing to build, and well, now it feels like it's going to be pretty hard for Michaela to come back from this. So hats off to Meg. She is really pushing the boat out here, and so far anyway is executing this brilliantly. 9:54.51. So in the sort of 106, 107 range. Still more swimmers getting lapped now. The swimmers over in lanes 1 and 2, Mari Craig and Olivia Mason, because there's quite a range of entry times here, so no surprise really that when you got these two at the front entered in 60 minutes and change, and then the ones on the outside lanes about a minute slower than that, so that is almost 4 lengths of the pool.
Yeah. There's quite a few girls here, so there's 3, 4, 5, 6, there's half the pool is within a year or two of each other, and that's good. With this event being introduced into the Olympics now, hopefully this group of 6 will keep pushing themselves on, and Won't necessarily drop it away. It's quite common. You swim it more so in your youth. But hey, Meg's bucking that trend.
11:01. 88 to be precise. So about 67.3-ish there. So that's pacing, keeping going pretty steadily here. Into the final 500 now. So you talked about sort of hanging in there in this final 500. Do you think that's what Meg will have to do, or do you think she's still looking pretty strong, isn't she? It doesn't look like there's been any sort of degradation from fatigue onto how she's swimming.
No, I like what I'm seeing. Yeah, really good routine, really good rhythm that she's got herself into. Good turns, again, continuing with that. It's easy to let them get a bit sloppy now as you're tiring. But hey, if she can pick things up, she's on for a very good time.
12:09.14. 400 to go.
The shoulders will be burning, the legs will be burning, and you're still looking at the lap counter, and it's still got 15 lengths to go.
But they're short lengths, remember?
Yeah.
So if we just do a little bit of mental maths, and 4 107s would be 4:28, so we'd be talking about 16:35-ish maybe, if we could put a wee bit of a sprint on the end. Is that sort of time we're looking at maybe? Entry time 16:52, so if she was a 16:35, can't sniff at a 17-second improvement. I might still be getting a bit ahead of myself and making the prediction, but we'll see how we go. 16:30, so another 107. And Michaela 13:24.29, so almost exactly 8 seconds behind now. So I think it looks like she's going to have to settle for second now. McFinnan. Already has a win in the 400. As I said, Michaela beat her in the 800, so it's interesting that Meg beat Michaela in the 400. Michaela beat Meg in the 800. Looks like Meg's going to beat Michaela in the 1500. How does that work?
Yeah. Funny how these things happen.
So continuing very nicely here. So looking at sort of 14:23-ish here. Maybe it's going to be a little off that. 14:24.06. So it was still a 67, but 67 high that time. But still looking pretty strong here. I wonder how much she's got in the tank now. So you can see that number 7 on her lane. So 175 to go now. What point do you want to really start to motor it out? Just in the final 50, or did you try and just slowly ramp it up before then?
Yeah, I'd be looking at this, 300 to go, and see if you can descend those 100s. Just kind of build each one ever so slightly faster. But that's very easy for me to say here.
Yeah, it's easy up here, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll just be hanging on for dear life in the pool. Again, in there, I'm sure Meg's going to have an idea that she's swimming fast, and I'm not sure whether she can see it, spot her coach out on the pool side, but I think she'll know she's on for a good time. I think we'll see the legs just introduced ever so slightly in the next couple of hundreds.
So 15:32.01, that was about a 68 there, so she clearly is tiring a bit, I think, here. And as you say, when do the legs start to go? Final 100, final 50 coming up, so the bell must always be a welcome sound. And she's going to hear it now. I just think it must be...
It's easy when you've got 100 to go to think, right, I'll just save myself for that last 50, and then suddenly you find the penultimate 50 just slows down a little touch, but yeah, she looks like she's picking things up a little bit here.
Yeah, the stroke rate definitely has increased. There's not too much going on in the... Oh, maybe there is now on the legs. And it's certainly not a hard sprinter's legs, but you wouldn't expect that at this stage, but she's definitely picked up the pace. Time just clocking through 16:35, so I wasn't far off from my prediction. 16:37.47, so very well done. Meg Finnan picking up her second win of these championships, and very well done. 16:52.50 entry time, so nicely time knocked off that. 16:48.83 for Michaela, not quite on her entry time, but a good solid swim nonetheless. Takes second, and here comes Kaylin Hall for third place. Good swim from her, 17:05.56, right on her entry time at 17:05.7, so nicely done there. And Holly McGill,
wonderful finish from Holly there.
Yeah, really strong there, mainly known as a backstroker, but showing great skill there. And that's a big PB, entered 17:39, takes that down to 17:10. So be happy with that. And Natasha Simpson also, big improvement. She does have more of a distance pedigree, 17:47 entry time down to 17:26. So you were talking about the next generation of swimmers, and you're seeing some of them there. There's two Edinburgh-based swimmers, and Murray Craig as well, getting a nice nifty little improvement of 12 seconds or so in lane 1 from Sterling. So well swum, ladies. And Meg Finnan taking our first win of the evening, 16:37.47, taking it in the end by 11 and a bit seconds from Michaela Glenister, with Kaylin Hall taking third, I should say. So you can see there, we go straight to the men's 200 individual medley now, and this is the youth final. So 17 and unders for the boys. That's the lineup that you've just seen. Robert Burgess of City of Glasgow, Kieran Breckenser of Aberdeen Dolphin, Matthew McMillan of Incas, Matthew Garrity of Inverclyde, Travis Davey, saw in the swim-off, of course. He's got another swim here. Goes for Dundee City Aquatics in 5. Archie Dixon, City of Glasgow in 6, with Max Pelosi, also City of Glasgow in 7, and Callum Peebles of East Lothian in lane 8. Times in the heats, 2:12 to 2:16, and they'll be all looking, I'm sure, to take a little bit of time off their heat swims. And no doubt see changes as this race progresses, and we see the different strengths of each of the swimmers. Matthew McMillan, the Inca swimmer, has the touch at the 50, 27.70. Incas from Inverkeithing, just over the Forth Bridge. I suppose now the Queen Elizabeth Crossing, I should call it now. And he has the edge from lane 5. Travis Davey, well, seeing his backstroke after the fly, and he is right up there with Matthew now. Nice little warm-up act in that swim-off. He's around 3/10 back on Matthew at the halfway point, 1:01.02 and 1:01.34. Matthew, pretty handy breaststroker, so he'll be hard to catch, I think, in this section of the race. But they're all going at it, and Matthew Garrity, probably breaststroke is his speciality in the white cap in lane 4, and he is certainly making a move. Came up from maybe about 4th place at the halfway point. It's certainly into second now. Also Robert Burgess going well up at the top of your screen. But keep an eye on him. But it's still Matthew McMillan with the lead. 1:38.78.
Fabulous breaststroke leg there from Matthew Garrity.
So can he top that off with a strong freestyle? Looks like he can.
Well,
I was talking with Ali Wyke in the afternoon session about this momentum that comes from a strong breaststroke in the IM into the freestyle, and even not necessarily if you're a particularly good freestyle, you just seem to have that momentum and it drives you on for this last 50, and that's certainly what's happened here. Matthew Garrity coming in very strongly at the end, much faster than he was in the heats, 2:08.96. Matthew McMillan 2:10.46, and Archie Dixon taking third, 2:12.52. Thoughts on that one?
That was excellent. I thought you almost negative split that race there. The breaststroke and freestyle was so fast.
Yeah, it's Inverclyde, a good young program there, and Matthew Garrity representing them with distinction there. Take that youth final. On to the B final now. 7 swimmers go in this. We've got Micah Van Blerk of Warrender in lane 1, Nick van der Wood of Edinburgh University in 2, Evan Davison, another really promising youngster from Dundee City Aquatics, in 3. Harper Whitehead, University of Stirling, in 4, with his teammate Dom Bissett beside him. 6 is Stefan Kravis of East Lothian, and Owen Ray of Warrender is in lane 7. No swimmer in lane 8. And the fastest time here, 2:06.28, Harper Whitehead. Then we had numbers of 2:08 up to 2:11. In fact, an empty lane in lane 5, so no Dom Bissett. So just the 6 swimmers taking this one on.
It's great that we've got a 14-year-old in this B final. That's some achievement.
Yes, Evan Davison has really been strong this weekend, and another one who's been strong is Stefan Kravis, who is leading the way in lane 6. He is a flying specialist, so you've probably seen the best of him in that one. We'll see whether he can keep that narrow lead as the race progresses, and the answer I think is no, because Harper Whitehead has just gone past him, and Evan Davison, as you were talking about, is up there in lane 3. Well, really there's 4 swimmers in a line behind Harper.
I wouldn't rule Stefan out here. I know his freestyle is very strong, and I know he's been working on his breaststroke as well, swimming some 200 breaststrokes in club competitions, so, and a great turn there from Stefan as well, actually.
1:00.09. Harper's turn, Stefan Kravis in second, and Owen Ray turning in third, but that is really close. But yes, so Stefan is certainly at least holding second at this stage, because Harper, much more experienced swimmer, 20-year-old against 15-year-old Stefan Kravis and 14-year-old Evan Davidson. Nick van der Wood is up there as well in that battle for second. Harper Whitehead, certainly you would think in charge here. 1:35.81. So then you go to the freestyle. Stefan Kravis starting to look pretty secure for second, although Evan Davison might just have a go at him in lane 3. Don't think either of them are going to get anywhere close to Harper Whitehead as we see them come down the final length. And it will be Harper. It is getting tighter for second, but Stefan Kravis will hold on for it. So 2:05.75 for Harper. That's 3 seconds. No, it's not. It's half a second faster than he was in the heats. Second, Stefan Kravis, 2:07.72. He improves by over a second, about 1.4. And Evan Davidson third in 2:08.20, takes his time down by half a second from his heat time. So our first senior final of the evening. And here they come marching on. The lineup: Jamie Ferguson, University of Aberdeen, in 1. Angus Allison, the University of Stirling, in 2. Matthew Ward of Mount Kelly College in 3. Igor Suvalov, Edinburgh University, in 4. Evan Jones of Millfield School in 5. Tony Joe Trent Oliver of University of Stirling in 6. Rory Dixon of University of Stirling in 7. And Tom Robinson of Aberdeen Performance, University of Aberdeen, in lane 8. So we talked about the 400 IM and that battle between Angus Allison and Evan Jones. And now we've got the added dimension of Matthew Ward and Igor Suvalov in this one. So how do you see this one going, Cameron? Get your cards on the table.
Yeah, it's a totally different beast, 200 IM short course than 400 IM. So it'll be interesting to see how Angus steps it up here and what pace he's got.
Both Angus Allison, Evan Jones representing Great Britain at the European Juniors in Rome last summer. So away they go. 2:00:59, the fastest time from the heats. Igor Suvalov, that was a big improvement on his entry time, so he really blitzed his heat time this morning. We'll see whether he can do the same again today.
I'm sure he'll be looking to go under 2 minutes here.
It looks like it's Evan Jones who's maybe just going to lead them through the 50, although it's tight. A tenth in it, 26.31 against 26.42 for Suvalov and 26.81 for Tret Oliver. Evan strong across all the strokes, really. He has made huge progress in the last year or so and really making his presence felt at British level. But
great turns there by the whole field.
Yeah, he's not got a big lead. 56.77 against 56.92. Tret Oliver and Matthew Ward in third. Looks like
Angus Allison coming back well.
Yes, he is. He's in the pink cap there in lane 2. Can he get on terms with Evan Jones? I think they'll be the ones who'll be eyeing each other across the length of the pool.
I think Angus is going to touch first here.
You are absolutely right. 1:31.65.
He should go under 2 minutes from this turn, I think.
So he's half a second ahead, and now he's showing great power here. Can the others respond to the challenge that Angus Allison has set? Maybe being in lane 2 has been a bit of an advance for him, but they're all coming for him now down this final length. This is getting really tight here, but Angus Allison, I think, still has the advantage. It's a scramble for second place, but Allison takes it, 1:59.82. You called it, Cameron, under the 2 minutes. Evan Jones takes second, and Suvalov comes through and just sneaks into third spot ahead of Tony Joe Tret Oliver, who made a lot of the running early on. But what a second half from Angus. That was pretty impressive there.
Great swim, great race. Good race for second there.
He came into this meet, Angus Allison, on a 2:01.8, so taking that down to 1:59, you have to be happy with that.
That breaststroke, he just had an ever so slightly higher stroke rate than the other guys in the race, and you know, getting that turnover on your stroke is so important to keeping the momentum going forwards, carrying as much speed as possible. You mentioned earlier about that back to breast turn and the importance of that. So I think the real important one is the breast to freestyle, because that's when you go from the slowest stroke into the fastest stroke. So if you can just be 0.1 or 0.2 quicker on that turn, that's just less time on the slowest one and more time on the fastest stroke.
Good point. So 200 freestyle now for the women. We've just got the B and the A final, no youth final in this one. So the lineup for the B final: Mari Craig of Sterling Swim in 1, Rebecca Reid in lane 2 for Aberdeen, Olivia Butler at University in 3, Laura Hodgson of Newcastle in 4, Zoe Giddon at University in 5, Abby Hall at University in 6, and Elise Cousins of Perth City in lane 7. No swimmer in 8. Times here from the heats 2:06s to 2:09. Tight at the 50, perhaps Olivia Butler. Yes, it is 28.72. From Zoe Giddon in second, Rebecca Reid in third. Definitely now Olivia just got her nose in front now. It's half a metre clear through the 75 turn. Zoe Giddon with the other group. Down at the bottom of your screen, Elise Cousins looking pretty good. Others as well. Olivia Butler is the one that they're chasing. Just over the minute, 1:00.07. Half a second of an advantage. Laura Hodgson starting to make her presence felt now in lane 4.
Yeah, she's turned on the gas a little bit. Was behind on that first 50, but now she's taking the lead, I think.
She's certainly challenging for it as we come down towards the 150, and I think she has got it now. Half a metre or so up now. 132.13. So good, strong third 50 from her. Can she now push that on and drive this home? Looks like she can. She is pulling away from the others now. She was the fastest going into this, 2:06.68. She only missed the A senior final by 2/10, and taking full advantage of lane 4 in this one to post
a big swim.
That is very good. 2:02.
Very impressive.
7.3.
I'm sure she'll be kicking herself that she's not in that A final with a swim like that. That would be very competitive in that final.
Well, I guess the more important thing for her is showing that she can achieve that sort of time, and that will take her into the long course season with lots of confidence. Probably best known at the longer events, 200 at the bottom of her range, I think. So showing good speed there, which very handy thing to have if you're a distance freestyler, to be able to turn the 200 speed when you need it, if you're, say, at the back of a 400 or an 800.
Absolutely. Having that ability, just having that top gear where you can kind of switch into when you've just got the 100, or like we spoke about in that 1500 there, if you've got the ability to just turn the gas on, then yeah, that really helps when you're stuck in a battle with somebody.
So the senior final is out to the blocks now, and we've got Anna Green of Warrender Baths in lane 1, Olivia Mason of Warrender Baths in 2, 3 is Nicole Ricci of Edinburgh University, Katie Robertson, Edinburgh University in lane 4, lane 5 is Drew Mckenzie of City of Glasgow, Natasha Simpson of Warrender Baths in 6, Kaylin Hall back from the 1500 swims again here in lane 7, and Ellis Shields of Edinburgh University in lane 8. Katie Robertson you mainly think of as a breaststroker, but she's shown some good strong form to be the fastest qualifier here, 2:01.23. Drew Mckenzie you definitely think of as a freestyler, so see what she can do, the 16-year-old. Nicole Ricci, Italian, now based in Edinburgh. So they were the fastest 3 in the heats. 2 swimmers on 2:01s, Katie Robertson and Drew Mckenzie. Great start from Katie. Already about a metre clear just from the start and the underwater.
Got 3 swimmers here who were in the 1500 earlier this evening, so it'll be interesting to see how their back ends are.
27.36. Katie Robertson, 28.04. Drew Mckenzie. You would think, particularly with the swimmers that have done the 1500, that these two, it's theirs to lose in terms of first and second, you would think.
You'd think so, certainly going off the times that were done this morning, they're the two that are standing out. Although Katie is in charge of this race, I think.
56.95 at halfway. Just checking out her time from the heat. She was a 57.74, so it's about 8/10 faster than she swam this morning at the halfway point. Looks like Drew is coming back at her a bit now, though. So we'll just keep tabs on that. Nicole Ricci in 3rd place, and then up in lane 1, Anna Green in 4th. So 50 to go. 1:27.72 and 1:29.27. So 2.5 the gap. That's a big gap to try and claw back in a final 50 metres. That might be too much of an ask, I would think, for Drew, but she'll give it a go, and she maybe is clawing back a bit. But can she pull back this big lead that Katie Robertson has? I don't think she can. As they go towards the final 5 meters, it's going to be Katie Robertson taking 200 freestyle gold in 1:58.92. Nice improvement on her time this morning. Just looking at her entry time, 1:59.25, and that was a recent time from Buck Short Course. So to improve that by 3/10 is satisfactory. Drew Mckenzie in second, 2:00.75. She might have liked to get under that 2 minutes. She got close and also improved on both her entry time and her heat time. And Nicole Ricci, 2:03.68, taking third.
That was a great swim by Anna out in the outside lane there in lane 1. Tricky when Olivia inside of her was obviously swimming the 1500 earlier and perhaps suffering a little bit because of that. Anna did a great job at holding her own and swimming her own race.
No rest. We go straight on to the men's 100 butterfly now. This does have a youth final, and that's what's going now. Murray Dixon, Brodie Gordon-Gibson, Matthew McMillan with a quick return to the pool after his 200 IM. Finley Clubb, Dean Fern, Evan Davidson also just straight back into the pool. Jack Murphy, and then Travis Davey from that swim off at the beginning of the evening, taking up lane 8. So the times from the heats, 58s and 59s, because we saw that superb 58.18 from Travis Davey in the swim-off, but he's not at that pace, I don't think, here. Tight between the centre lanes, and Brodie Gordon-Gibson also in lane 2 at the turn, 26.80, Finley Clubb with the advantage. It's close though. Brodie Gordon-Gibson right up with him now. So this is going to get tight. Ewan Davidson not far away, but it does look like it's between lanes 2 and 4. Brodie and Finley. Who's going to get it? Maybe Brodie, is it? Oh. Yes, it is. 58.07. Let's hear it for the Brodies.
Finley just unfortunately lost that on the finish there, had a kind of half stroke into the wall. It's so important to really nail every single turn at turn and finish, obviously.
So particularly, I guess, in fly, because it's sort of all or nothing, isn't it? With
yes, yeah.
So how do you judge that when you're sort of coming in maybe 10 metres out? What's your strategy to just get that right?
Yeah, so some people have got different plans. I knew through a lot of practice that if I did, I would do 8 kicks off the wall, and that would be 5 strokes. And I just knew that equation for me worked, and I would hit every single wall. That took a long time to figure out, but it's worth spending some time to.
Absolutely. So this is the B final. Peter Allen, Tom Robertson, Ian Rose, Benjamin Shuyen, Luke Shaw, Lewis Hammond, Albert Bangan, and Mark Innes. Times here all in the 56s, 56.0 to 56.7. So this could be a really close affair. Out of the turn, and it's lanes 3 and 4. Ian Rose, Benjamin Shuyen. Maybe Ben has just got the edge. He does, 25.18 from Ian Rose, now training down in Bath, and that got a nice transition to the third length there. Transition, the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Ian Rose, Benjamin Shuyen, Luke Shaw not out of it in lane 5. So I think it's going to be between these, but favourite I think is Ian rather in lane 3. And he's coming in, the swimmer's up at the top.
Just stretching out there. Ian went the longest off the wall that last turn, and that just kind of maybe just helped him a little bit. His underwater work was very impressive there.
Yeah, swimming course training in a quality program down in Bath now, so I'm sure he's coming on leaps and bounds as a result of that. Former Warrender swimmer and returning to his roost for the Christmas holidays. So the A finals swimmers come out, and we've got Ian's younger brother Callum going in lane 1, so he was faster than Ian in the heats. That's an interesting family dynamic. He goes for Warrender. Mark Ford of City of Glasgow in lane 2. Jamie Robertson, University of Stirling, in 3. Gregor Swinney of City of Glasgow in 4. 3 from Edinburgh University, Thomas Carswell in 5, Ben Carr in 6. Stephen Clegg, the Paralympic silver medalist, goes in 7. S12 swimmer Stefan Kravis, who we saw earlier in the 200 IM, goes in lane 8 for East Lothian.
Stefan got a world record this morning in this race?
I think it was a British record in this one, but he's certainly been knocking the world records off. They're slightly flaky, the para short course world records. It has to be said, they're often not claimed, and world para swimming can be quite picky about what meets they'll allow a record to be broken at, and probably wouldn't include this meet because it's not a para meet. Yeah, they're very funny that way. But all we can say are potentially world fastest times, but the British swimming are far more sensible than that, and if they've swum it under the proper conditions, then they get credited with it. So it was a British record this morning, 55.37. He's a little bit sluggish compared with the swimmers in the centre lanes at the moment. 24.51, Gregor Swinney leading the way.
Great underwater work from Gregor. He looks very long in the water, which is a real. Some people look bigger than they actually are on land in the water, and Gregor's one like that.
He won the 50 fly, and probably 50 is probably a stronger event, but he'll be trying to hold off Thomas Carswell now down the stretch here. It's getting tight between the two of them. Who's going to get it on the touch? Ooh. So close. Carswell just getting it. 52.97. Swinney second, 53.14. Jamie Robertson third, 53.62. And just check on that time from Stephen Clegg, 56.10. So that's not as fast as he did this morning, but a good time nonetheless. 55.71. Stefan Kravis was just 7 hundredths away from the 15-year-old national age group record. So good effort from Stefan there. But the winner, Thomas Carswell, by a hair's breadth.
Gregor ever so slightly slower than this morning, unfortunately. He would have won with the time that he did this morning in the heats.
Yeah, fine margin. It did look like maybe in terms of the two finishes, there was a difference there in terms of where they were relative to the wall as they came in.
It's so important to have full momentum at the wall.
On
to full stroke.
On to women's 100 breaststroke now. And this is youth final. Amy McLeod goes for City of Glasgow in 1. Freya Masson of Shetland in 2. Fenrada McGregor of Warrender in 3. Lucy Stowes, Dundee City Aquatics in 4. Nuala Gow of Geary in 5. Kitriona Stewart of Western Bartonshire in 6. Eddie Robertson of South Ayrshire in 7. Sarah McNaughton of Warrender in 8. 113s to 115s the times from the heats. Lots and lots of tight races tonight, and this looks like it could be another one. Lane 4, Lucy Stowes, another Dundonian who's having a good time this weekend, and she leads 33.99 on about half a second from Fenrada McGregor in the red cap of Warrender. So these two, followed by Nuala Gow in the white cap in lane 5, through the turn at 75. And Lucy holding it together well in the breaststroke here. But Nuala Gow is coming back a bit, but she's not going to catch Lucy, who takes it in 1:12.42. A second faster than she was in the heats. 1:12.86 for Nuala Gow. She also improves by about 8 tenths. And Kitriona Stewart taking third, 1:13.75. Swimming breaststroke fast and under pressure, I always feel, is a hard thing to do because it's very easy to try and lose your stroke rhythm when you're putting maybe too much pressure into it.
Yes, timing is so important for breaststroke, and I know that because I never had any timing in breaststroke. But it's one that I do enjoy watching. We've had such good breaststrokers with Ross Murdoch and Michael Jameson, and I'm looking particularly in this event. Edinburgh University have just been churning out good female breaststrokers for decades, going back to Kirsty Balfour. And I'm not surprised that they've got so many in this A final coming up.
Yeah, so this is the B final. Anne Hutchison, Bridget Le Mesurier in lanes 1 and 2, both from Edinburgh University. Amy Watson of Inverclyde in 3. Ciara Davison, City of Glasgow in 5. Olwen Cook of Edinburgh University in 6. Vicky Russell, University of Stirling in 7. And Charlotte Hardy of South Ayrshire in lane 8. 111s to 113s the entry times here. Vicky Russell looking good early on in lane 7. And also lane 3, Amy Watson, another from Inverclyde. We were talking about them earlier. That's Vicky Russell, does have the touch, 33.13. In fact, Ciara Davison, another breaststroke specialist, in lane 5, turning second, just ahead of Amy Watson. Vicky, 21-year-old, in her first season in Stirling, finalist in Buck short course. And she is she going to hold on to it? Because coming up strongly is Ciara Davison. But it is Vicky who takes it, 110.93. So it takes 112.97 down nicely from heats to final. Just comparing that with what she did in Bucks, and I can tell you it's about 4/10 faster, so that's good progress as well. As we come to the end of the short course season, Ciara Davison second, Olwen Cook in third. So a finalist coming up now, so this will be a very interesting one. As you said, a strong Edinburgh presence coming out in those red tracksuit tops. Lane 1, Orla Adams goes for it, University of Aberdeen. Lane 2, Annabelle Guy-Johnson of Edinburgh University. Then her teammates, Erin Robertson in lane 3. Cara Hanlon in 4. Katie Robertson in 5. 6 is Anna Morgan from the University of Stirling. And 2 more from Edinburgh, Ailsa MacDonald in 7. Katie Goodburn in lane 8. A little bit of a surprise that Katie Goodburn only just sneaked into this A final, so it'll be interesting to what she does out of lane 8. She might be a threat here, I think, from the outside lane. But we'll see how it progresses. In fact, looks like we've actually got a change there. Louise Edmonds has come in instead of Katie Goodburn, so I wonder whether there's a problem with Katie. So Louise Edmonds of Royal Wolverhampton School gets a chance to go in lane 8. So Cara Hanlon won the 50, but was beaten by Katie Shanahan in the 200. This time she's got Katie Robertson to deal with. She's just off that 200 freestyle where she was very impressive. Erin Robertson, her sister, also up there in lane 3, and she's off to a pretty decent start as well, but it is Cara Hanlon in the black cap in between them in lane 4 who has got the advantage.
Great to see Erin back in competitive swimming, back at the sharp edge of it as well, not taking long to get back up to where she was.
No, this is absolutely superb. She's, I think, rediscovered her love for it and tweets enthusiastically about her journey back into swimming. So pick that up if you get the chance. But Cara Hanlon looks like she is going to take this pretty comfortably, and the race is going to be out the minor places. Erin certainly looking good for second. Annabelle Guy-Johnson will be contesting with Katie Robertson and Anna Morgan for third, but this is all about Cara Hanlon, 1:06.63. So very nice swim from her there. Just outside the entry time that she came into, 1:06.25, and within 6/10 of Corrie Scott's Scottish record. So a very respectable swim from Cara. She'll, I think, certainly have her sights on Birmingham and making the Scottish team with trials in April. It's a great swim from Erin Robertson and Anna Morgan in third.
I wonder whether that's a deliberate ploy this season to focus more on the 100 with Birmingham in mind, with the medley relays and the mixed medley relays as well. because that female team's looking quite strong. You've got Cassie and Kathleen on the backstroke. Good foundations of a good relay.
Yep, and the fly swimmers improving all the time with Tame Bruce, Kiana McInnes and co. And then a strong freestyle at the end of it with Lucy Hope. So yes, the medley is looking quite exciting. First time for quite a long time, really, for the women.
Yeah, they'll be there or thereabouts for a medal, I would expect.
Might struggle to beat the Australians.
Australia and the Canadians as well, actually, now that I think about it.
Yep, so they've got to beat the English. We've always got to beat the English. Sorry to any English people listening. So we go now to the 50 freestyle. Youth final underway. Dean Fern, Finley Clubb, Luke Hornsey, Lucas Brown, William Storer, Callum Dunn, Tom Robertson and Finn Bremner. Lucas Brown, I think, just turning first, but coming out of the turn. William Storer, I think, has the edge. As is always the case in the 53, it's going to be a scramble and managing the finish, and Lucas Brown coming through does take it 23.88, exactly the same time as he did this morning, so consistency is Lucas's middle name. William Storer 24.10, Callum Dunn 24.17. So 53, you've got to nail your start, I guess, nail your turn.
It's fine margins, you know, you've got to pay attention to everything. You've got to pay attention for 20 seconds. It's not long, but you've really got to nail every aspect of the race.
And then go like hell.
And go like hell in the middle, yeah.
Marius Kringelis, Swale Talib, Oscar Smiley, Fraser Agnew, Alex Thompson, Sean Sy, Lewis Hammond, Connor Massey, the 8 in the B final. 23.3, 23.8 heat times here. Well, again, it's fast and furious here. Lanes 2 and 3 going well. Swale Talib and Oscar Smiley, but coming out of the turn, it's Fraser Agnew. Really nice turn from him, and it looks like that's going to give him the advantage, although it's not absolutely done yet, but he did just get there. 23.18, but the board's been cleared. Well, usually you'd think the only thing that could go wrong is a flyer.
I didn't notice one.
No, I didn't either, but well, we'll see. It might just be a query with the times. We've had a few of them this weekend. The backup time and the primary time is too large a discrepancy, so they just want to have a think about that. But we do have a disqualification, unfortunately, and it's lane 6, Sean Sy, so we lose him. But Fraser Agnew takes the win, 23.18, a couple of tenths faster than he was this morning. Swale Talib second. The A finalists then coming out to see what fate awaits for them. So in lane 1 we've got Rory McKinnon, City of Glasgow. Lane 2, Eddie Watson, University of Aberdeen. Lane 3, Thomas Carswell of Edinburgh University. Lane 4, also Edinburgh University, David Cumberledge. Chris Muir goes for the University of Stirling in 5, with Henry Baker beside him, his teammate. Miles Lapsley, Edinburgh University in 7, and Rory Dixon at the University of Stirling in 8. So 3 from Edinburgh, 3 from Stirling, 1 from Aberdeen, 1 from Glasgow. Battling this out, but you would think David Cumberledge, the English Commonwealth Games swimmer from the Gold Coast, will be a hot favourite here. Long-term resident in Edinburgh. He'll be gunning for a place in the English Commonwealth Games team on the 50 and the 100 and the relay.
It's interesting looking at the size and shape of all these guys, and on a global scale, you've got Duncan Scott and David Cumberledge is similarly very tall and skinny, but still can move at a hell of a speed.
So David Cumberledge well clear as they come here. It's all about who's going to be second, because Cumberledge has got this by best part of a body length, a long body length. 21.68, 200ths inside his time from this morning. Second place was Thomas Carswell, 22.53. And in third place, Chris Muir, 22.07. 54. So some good fast swimming there.
Who won the 4x50 free relay?
In
this event.
here,
Yeah.
Edinburgh did.
Edinburgh did.
Yes,
right.
with
So
Cumberledge came storming through. He was swimming against Emma Russell on the freestyle at the end of it, and he was a long way back when he went in, and he was a long way ahead when he finished. Poor Emma. That's all I can say. Is David absolutely went streaming past. So yes, they got a Scottish Club record as well. They were Edinburgh mixed quartet, very strong indeed.
I love those mixed relays.
Yeah.
I love the tactics and the strategy behind it. It's fascinating.
Actually, I tell a lie, because the one I was talking about, it was the medley relay yesterday when it was Russell and Cumberledge on the freestyle at the end of it. But they also did win the 4x50 free on Friday night. Again, a Scottish Club record. Again, with Cumberledge on the anchor, so not a Scottish record with not a full Scots team. So 50 backstroke is next. Holly Lumsden, Ella Stevenson, Heidi Wren, Amy Shields, Melissa Mainwaring, Katie Rose, Isabella Abernethy, Emma McGavin, the lineup in the junior final. So here they go. Glaswegians, Heidi Wren, Amy Shields off to good starts in lanes 3 and 4. Just ahead of Melissa Mainwaring in lane 5. And it's those swimmers along with Katie Rose in 6. I'm going to decide it, but I think it's going to be a Glasgow 1-2. But who's going to get the 1? I think it might be Amy. It is. In fact, it's not a Glasgow 1-2. Melissa Mainwaring got in between them by 300ths, but Amy Shields taking it 29.69. Melissa Mainwaring 29.89, and Heidi Wren 29.92 in third. So 29.69. That's a nice 6/10 improvement on the heat swim for Amy.
Really good to see some of the girls there really pushing the underwater work. Laying really good foundations for later on in the swim. I'm sure in this A final they'll be pushing 15 metres off both the start and the turn.
So B final first. Before that, we've got Lucy Lucas in 1, Ellie Turner in 2, Kiana Kurtzer in 3, Rebecca Reid in 4, Kira Steriker in 5, Rachel Saunders in 6, Lucy Stoves in 7, Marie Wood in 8. Times here 29.6 to 30.1. Nice start there in lane 4, Rebecca Reid, pretty much using the full 15, but just through the turn, it's Rachel Saunders, one of our very promising backstrokers, probably more familiar with a longer distance than this, but she is showing good form here in lane 6 and takes the win in 29.09.
Wonderful swim there.
7/10 inside her heat swim. Second, Rebecca Reid. Third, Kira Steriker. Kiana Kurtzer there, good swim from her. 29.89 in 4th place for the 13-year-old. Not a million miles away from the 13-year-old national age group record. So good stuff from her. The A final up now, and there in lane 1 is Holly McGill of Heart of Midlothian. In 2, Kate Butler of Edinburgh University. In 3, Scarlett Ferris, Dundee City Aquatics. In lane 4, Emily Grant of University of Aberdeen. In 5, Emma Scobie of Kirkintilloch. 6 is Tane Bruce of Edinburgh University. 7 is Anna Green of Warrender. And 8, Ava Simpson of Edinburgh University. Well, we've seen Tane very strong in fly and freestyle so far this weekend. Now she's trying her hand at backstroke. And she was 4th fastest in the heats. Fastest Emily Grant, who's been in good form this weekend. And Emma Scobie is very much a 50 backstroke specialist beside her. And then Scarlett Ferris and Tane Bruce just 100th apart this morning. So you'd think perhaps any of those 4 could challenge for the win here.
Tane was saying this morning that she's never used one of the backstroke wedges before, so was having to practice that in the warm-up. Wasn't sure which setting to have it on.
So it just shows that backstroke is a bit of an adventure for her.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it works out. It seems to be working out pretty well at the moment.
Very well.
Lovely skills off the wall there. And that is going to give her the win, I think. Maybe backstroke's not such a bad thing for her after all. 27.95. Oh, she'll be, I think, highly chuffed about that. 8 tenths inside her time, so really good there. I think Kathleen Dawson doesn't have to worry quite yet, but well, that was good stuff there. Shows Tane's versatility there. Good stuff.
She's won medals in freestyle, fly, and now winning backstroke. Breaststroke next year?
Well, there
she should be an IM. She should be doing an IM.
Scarlett Ferris 2nd, Emily Grant in 3rd. So good race that, and I think really it was that turn off the wall there from Tane. Beautifully done. So doesn't do that. She's got that one nailed as well. How to turn on backstroke. 200 breaststroke is next for the men B final here. Andrew Arthur, Don Bissett, Angus Allison, Igor Suvalov, Harper Whitehead, Emil Moravsky, Finlay Wallace and Charlie Trotman.
Going back to that 200 IM earlier today, Angus had a fantastic breaststroke leg, so he's on form here.
Yes, so going in the B final here, 2:18 to 2:24 times from the heats. So we'll see how this makes out. I don't actually have any form for Angus on 200 breaststroke. I don't think it's one he does very often. And at the moment he's sitting in 8th place, so he's got a fair bit of work to do as this race progresses. 30.75, the leading time for Don Bissett in lane 2, who is a specialist breaststroker. Andrew Arthur going nicely beside him, and then in lane 8, Charlie Trotman. So it's the outside lanes making the pace at the moment. That might change in the second half. We'll see. Don Bissett with the clear lead at halfway. 1:06.49. Should have only having a 2/10 advantage over Andrew Arthur, but in the water it looks a lot more than that. So maybe something about their touch there. Can anyone come back at him? He's still got a reasonable advantage.
Looking good here now, but breaststroke's one of those strokes where as soon as things start to fatigue, mechanically things get a bit funky and inefficiencies creep in. So let's see if he can keep this going for the last 50 here.
1:42.06. So that's about 35.5. So he's keeping his pace pretty steady here. So I don't think anything's going funky, as you call it. Second place in lane 5, Harper Whitehead. And along with him now is Angus Allison, who is moving up. So we saw this in the IM, in the breaststroke leg, that pink or purple cap. And beware Angus Allison when he's in the water, because he'll come through and get you. And he did, 2:17.80. So I don't think that was Don losing it. I think that was Angus winning it.
that's a fabulous trait to have, you know, having that ability to come back from no matter how far behind you are. Clearly part of the plan.
So Harper also just nicking past Don Bissett to take second by 300s, 2:18.24 against 2:18.27. But 2:17.80 there for Angus. And a second half faster than he was in the heats, and a lot faster than his entry time of 2:21. Here come the A finalists. In lane 1 we have University of Stirling's Thomas Cannon. In lane 2 from Edinburgh University, the Irishman Nick Quinn. In lane 3 is young superstar from Nova Centurion Callum Melville. In lane 4, second Irishman going for Edinburgh University, Eugene Cook. In lane 5 from the University of Stirling, William Ellington. In lane 6 from Edinburgh University, Ross Young. In lane 7 from the University of Stirling, Greg Fairbairn. And in lane 8 from Edinburgh University, Josh Mitchell. So a Stirling Edinburgh battle with the exception of Callum Melville from Nova Centurion.
I think this is Nick Quinn's last ever race. I think he's retiring after this, so I really hope he can go out on a fast one.
Yep, so it's had a distinguished career, including the Olympics for Ireland. 200 breast, I think, is his signature event.
So unlucky with a COVID contact case keeping him away from Irish trials this summer, otherwise he might have gone to another Olympic Games.
Yeah, that's really tough. But it's his Irish teammate Eugene Cook who's the fastest entry time here, 2:08.32. Could be the future of Irish breaststroke swimming. 20-year-old in his second season at Edinburgh, having grown up with John Shiranick in latter years over in the west of Ireland. 29.03. Eugene leads the way from Nick Quinn, so he is pushing this hard in these early stages. Is this going to be an Ireland contest? Eugene and Nick, very little to choose between them, so if Nick is going after this, he's looking to try and go out with a bang. Lane 5 is William Ellington. Lane 6, Ross Young. Lane 3, Callum Melville. And Thomas Cannon not far away, but it's the two Irishmen. 1:01.96. Eugene Cook just has the advantage over Nick Quinn, 1:02.37, but Nick is not going to give this one up. Is he edging past Eugene? Well, they're absolutely together now as they turn at the 1:25. Out of the turn, maybe Eugene just getting a slight advantage. Third is William Ellington ahead of Callum Melville. That's pretty tight after that, but it's still very much the two Irishmen head to head here with 50 to go. 1:35.11 against 1:35.52. Eugene is going to try and hold this now. If anything, he's just building this lead, and it looks like he is going to take this one on, and through that turn he's made it absolutely emphatic. It was really tight for 150 meters, but in the end it's Eugene Cook who comes in and takes it in 2:08.16, takes 16 hundredths off his heat time. A great effort from Nick Quinn, 2:10.46, massive 4.5 seconds faster than he was this morning, takes a well-deserved silver medal. And Ross Young, it takes 2:11.86 for him, and then 2:12.89. Callum Melville by 1/100th of a second improves his Scottish junior record. So congratulations to Callum in 5th place there, but new Scottish junior record holder. Not only once, he's done it twice today.
Eugene was fantastic there, really, really well constructed race strategy. Starting out with 6 strokes a length, and then towards the end, I think his last length was about 11 or 12 strokes. So using his stroke count to just kind of drive the pace, so taking a few more strokes to pick up the pace, and got to finish very strong on that last length. And a good way for Nick Quinn to sign off, I think. I think he'd be quite happy with it.
I guess, and if he had to lose to someone, he'd probably rather lose to Eugene than anyone else.
Perhaps.
So on to women's 200 butterfly now. B final, getting ready to go. Chloe Barron of Midlothian in 1, Stella McCarty, City of Glasgow in 2, Laura Hodgson of Newcastle in 3, Katie Taylor, City of Glasgow in 4, Lauren Patterson, Edinburgh University in 5, Iona Morley of Winchester Penguins in 6, Erin Taylor of Finns in 7, and Rebecca Auger of East Kilbride in 8. 2 swimmers on 222s in the heats and 1 on 223, so this could be fairly close. And it is the 2 in the centre lanes making the early running. Katie Taylor in 4 and maybe just ahead of her Lauren Patterson in 5. And it is the Edinburgh University swimmer, Lauren, taking the touch at the 50, 30, 60. But out of the turn, it's Katie. And she's now got about a metres advantage. 75-metre turn, then really tight for third. There's about 5 of them in the race for that. It's 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. But Katie Taylor has had a good second 50 here. And she's 2+ metres ahead, 1:04.95. So 200 fly was very much your event, Cameron. So at this stage, coming towards the 150, where are you at in your race strategy?
Yeah, so my race strategy, probably ever so slightly different short course, but my first 50 I'd just be thinking about kind of developing my stroke and keeping it steady and kind of finding my rhythm, and then the second 50's building it, and then you've got 2 50s left and it's just go for it. And when things were well, that strategy worked very nicely, but there'd be times where I'd get to 75 and think, goodness, it's a long way to go from here.
So develop it, build it, go for it.
Yes, yeah.
There you go, all you budding 200 fly swimmers. That's the strategy from a Commonwealth Games finals swimmer. Someone who could say, I beat Chad Leclos.
It seems a long time ago now, 2014. It is a long time ago now.
Katie Taylor bringing this one home. She's looked really good throughout from the 50 onwards. 2:16.80 for her. Massively inside her time from this morning. So be happy with that, I think. Came in on a 2:30, and I think pretty sure that would be a pre-COVID time. So it's about getting back into it for the senior swimmers. The board here in the venue has been cleared, and that's not necessarily a good sign for someone. But we're just going to wait and see whether that is... No, we're okay, it looks like. Katie Taylor confirmed as the winner, Lauren Patterson second, Iona Morley in third, 2:20.52 and 2:21.96 in second and third.
It's been nice speaking to some of the younger athletes about this competition and how the older athletes perhaps have had the Bucks University Championships and ISL, so they've had a bit of fast short course racing, whereas for some of these younger ones, they've been peaking for this, and there's been some great swims.
Yeah, definitely. The line-up here in this A final, Yvonne Brown, who's had a great meet from University of Aberdeen in 1. Madeline Robertson of Kronos in Spain goes in lane 2. Jennifer King, University of Stirling in 3. Kiana McInnes, University of Stirling in 4. Kira Schlossen, Edinburgh University in 5. 6 is Yasmin Perry. 7, Gaia Alcras, and 8, Zara Keegan, and they're all from the University of Aberdeen. That's the lineup confirmed for you. Kiana McInnes, you'd think, would be the hot favourite. Scottish record holder, set that in the ISL series. British University's short course champion. In fact, Kira Schlossen was second, and Yasmin Perry was third down in Sheffield at Bucks. So real class in this field. Some of the best 200 fly swimmers in the country here. In country here, I mean the GB, not just Scotland.
It's great when we've got some real world-class swimming here. And Kiana, who's been out in with the Tokyo Frog Kings at the ISL. It's great that she's come back and still looking to race fast.
28.72. She leads by 3/10 or so, and I think building that lead now from Kira Schlossen. So these two, and then maybe just Yasmin Perry in lane 6. I think they're probably the ones you'd fancy for the 1, 2, 3, and probably in the order that they're in at the moment. But Kira Schlossen might have other ideas about this. She's coming up alongside Kiana McInnes now, and in fact she's got the lead. 1:01.43 against 1:01.60. But a good turn from Kiana gets her back in the mix, and well, once again Kira Schlossen edging past her. So once again it looks to be turns versus swims. This time not much to choose between them on the turns, and Kira Schlossen holding her advantage. We know that Kiana will be strong in the final 50, but there's no reason to suggest that Kira won't be as well. So all to play for then, just 800ths in it as we go into the final 50. Just maybe edging past is Kiana McInnes, but she's got a battle on her hands here if she is to win gold here. We've had Lucy Grieve winning the 50, Tame Bruce winning the 100, and we're certainly going to have somebody else winning the 200 butterfly. It looks like it's going to be Kiana McInnes after a great effort from Kira Schlossen, but Kiana McInnes in that final 50 had too much in hand and takes the win in 2:08.30. But once again, the board here at the Commonwealth pool has been cleared. Last time there was no DQ, so let's touch wood that the same is the case here. But we're going to have to wait and just find out.
Kiana looked fantastic there. She just looked on that last 50 ever so slightly higher in the water. And you know, that's just a better efficiency for your fly swimming stroke. And she was able to just kind of take out the win there, but a great gritty swim from her.
Yes, she just looking at the splits. They were pretty even splits, in fact. 28.7, then 32.7ish, 33.2, and then finishing on a 33.5 or thereabouts. Unfortunately, we have a disqualification technical infraction in lane 7. That's Gaia Alcaraz. But the top three is, as we said, Kiana McInnes, Kira Schlossen, Yasmin Perry, 2:08.30, 2:09.31, 2:11 and change for Yasmin. So on now to 100 backstroke. Youth final, B and A. Here's the youth final. Owen Carroll, Robert Burgess, William Storer, Lucas Brown, Dean Fern, Kieran Brackenser, Ewan McLeod and Angus Johnson. Keep an eye out on Dean Fern in this one. The 13-year-old from South Aberdeenshire broke the national age group record in the heats. Time of 58.89. Not bad for a 13-year-old.
That's fantastic, getting second swims at a national championship as a 13-year-old.
Lane 4, Lucas Brown. That's the great thing about having these youth finals, I think, to give swimmers the chance to swim in the morning and again in the evening. 27.53 for Lucas Brown. We talked earlier today about Elgin's program under Andy Summer. What a great group of swimmers he produces, and Lucas certainly one of them, and he is putting in an emphatic performance here. And will take the win by a margin, 57.00, improves by 1.2 on his time this morning. Second, Ewan McLeod and Kieran Brackenser in third. And I can tell you, Dean Fern there in fifth place, 58.79, takes another 10th off that national age group record, so well done to him. 2 records again in a day. That's the second time I've said that. On to the B final. There's the lineup. Raise Warley, Alex Sargent, Jamie Ferguson, Brogan Hyde, Charlie Poole, Cameron Travis, Stephen Clegg, Alexander Harris. Stephen Clegg, of course, Paralympic medalist in this one as well as in the butterfly in Tokyo.
I think he'd call his 100 fly would be his main event, but he's very, very good at this, obviously.
Yes, I think that backstroke was probably a bonus medal for him in that one, and very happy to get it, but it was the fly he was really thinking about. In fact, we've got no swimmer in lane 2 and no swimmer in lane 6 here, so 6 go. Lane 4 broke. In fact, it's showing lane 4 not swimming on the board, but he is swimming, and it looks like he's winning, but that means that they're not going to have a time for him, which is a bit awkward. They're going to have to retrieve those times. It looks like he's leading, but unfortunately we can't give you a time. That 26.97 is Jamie Ferguson's time in lane 3. Also up there is Charlie Poole in lane 5. So these three, led by Brogan Hyde, I think they have fixed the issue on the scoreboard, so hopefully we'll get a good finish time for him. It's going to be really, really tight as they come in. Oh, with his Brogan, gets it by 300ths from Charlie Poole. 55.60 and 55.63. Second place, Charlie Poole, 55.63. And Jamie Ferguson, 56.02 in third. Stephen Clegg not quite as fast as he was in the heat, so no record this time. Probably about the first time he swum and not got the record, but had a wonderful weekend.
I think that finishes a very busy weekend and successful weekend for Stephen.
Yeah, I don't think he's going the 400 freestyle, that's not his thing. So the A finalists out now, and we've got Jamie Robertson of University of Stirling M1. Sam Pease in lane 2 from the University of Stirling. 3 is Mark Ford of City of Glasgow. He set a new national age group record this morning. Scott Gibson of Edinburgh University in lane 4. Craig McNally at the University of Stirling in 5. Martin Walton, the University of Stirling in 6. Matthew Ward of Mount Kelly College in 7. And Conor Massey of Aberdeen Performance in 8. So here we've got the Scottish record holder from last night in the 50 backstroke. We've got the Olympian Craig McNally. We've got Matthew Ward, the Scottish junior record holder. We've got Mark Ford, the 18-year-old national age group record holder from this morning.
I'm going to put my neck on the line here and say that Scottish record will go.
Okay.
51.47, Craig McNally's.
Right, let's see. You've done well so far with your predictions.
And I'm going to pick Martin Walton. All those Scots on form.
Well, we'll see. First to the first wall, Scott Gibson, but well, we know he's a great 50 back. Can he keep it through into the second 50? He leads the way by 2/10 from Martin Walton second, Mark Ford in third, just 100th between those two, 25.06. And now it's Mark Ford making a move, and also in lane 6, Martin Walton. So Martin Walton was your pick, and he has the lead. McNally in lane 5 is pushing on hard, but I think Walton is the one, or is it? Let's see. Look at McNally come in. He got it. 52.38. Well, I don't think your prediction did too well there. Walton, wrong. Scottish record, wrong.
Fabulous race, correct.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. 1 out of 3. Yeah.
It's a shame that one of those boys isn't on the podium because they all deserved it, the 4 of them.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. A great shot there. Craig puffing and blowing, but what a finish from him. Oh, a nice smile there. Well done, Craig. Good to see Craig with a smile on his face. They'll be quite happy that the starter isn't pulling them out of the pool at the moment. They're given a chance. There's Martin. I think a budding coaching career awaits Martin in years to come. That's what I'm hearing.
He's already started it with the University of Stirling, so coaching some of the university programme. And I took my Heriot Watt team up to Stirling to race against them. and they blew us out the water. so I don't know what that says.
Mark Ford there, 52.99, and that smashes his record that he set this morning by 8/10. So great fourth place, and as you said, really deserves a medal for that. But he gets himself onto the record book, so that's some consolation.
Yes. I imagine that would be Craig McNally's record, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't have the age group records in front of me, so I can't confirm that, but I wouldn't be surprised. So 100 individual medley now. Youth final, Ciara Davidson in 1, Louisa Stoddart in 2, Amber Stevenson in 3, Susie McNair in 4, Eddie Robertson in 5, Katie Rose in 6, Charlotte Hardy in 7, Ariana Stokes in 8. And 1 length of each stroke. Lane 2, Louisa Stoddart off to a good start. In lane 2, beside her, Amber Stevenson moving up. So it's these two, I think, at the turn. Louisa 30.49, just edging it by 400ths. I wonder if she can sustain this in the second half. Breaststroke probably the weakest of her 4 strokes, but she'll come back strongly in the freestyle. But meanwhile, Amber Stevenson has gone past her, and also pushing on strongly Susie McNair and others as well. Ciara Davidson, Eddie Robertson, both strong breaststrokers. So they set themselves in pole position now. Who's going to get it? Lane 5, Eddie Robertson. Lane 4, Susie McNair, I think, are going to contest it between them as they come into the finish. It is lane 4, Susie McNair, who takes the win. 1:06.94. Ailey not far behind her. 1:07.48, and Ciara Davidson just another 300ths back. 1:07.51. B final now. There's the lineup: Sophie Hall, Catriona Stewart, Elise Cousins, Avis Simpson, Amy Watson, Rebecca Reed, Thanrada McGregor, and Isla Yule. 1:05s to 1:07s the time here. Avis Simpson 1:05.55, Amy Watson 1:05.62. Avis Simpson strong backstroker, Amy Watson strong breaststroker. So we'll probably see Ava Simpson maybe leading earlier on, and then we'll see after the breaststroke. That's my prediction, so I'm putting my head in the block now.
The great thing about short course swimming is that you can slightly disguise your bad strokes. So with breaststroke, for example, the bigger the pull out, the less breaststroke swimming you've got to do. Same on backstroke. I was never very good at backstroke, but like Tane earlier, my underwater skills were quite good. So I would go the whole 15 underwater to miss out as much as the backstroke swimming as possible.
And then the trick is not to go 15 and a half by mistake.
Yes.
So lane 4, Ava Simpson is coming through strongly in the backstroke, 29.55. Now would expect Amy Watson to come back at her, and there's others in the mix as well. Rebecca Reed, who's a strong freestyler, so she's very much in with a chance in lane 6. Here comes Amy in the white cap in lane 5, but she's still got quite a lot of ground to make up. So it is still Ava Simpson with the advantage, and then Rebecca Reed and Amy Watson close behind her. And Rebecca Reed might be the threat.
Looking good.
Here, can Ava Simpson hold her off? It's between these two now. And it will be Ava Simpson. 1:05.13 holds off Rebecca Reed by a tenth. Improves by 4/10 from her morning swim. Rebecca Reed, as I said, 1:05.25 in second. Amy Watson in third, 1:06.49. So now to the A final. I'm just looking to see if Katie Goodburn is there, because she withdrew from an earlier swim. Looks like she is. So the lineup here: Louise Edmonds, Royal Wolverhampton School in lane 1. Drew Mckenzie of City of Glasgow in lane 2. Cara Hanlon, Edinburgh University in 3. Katie Goodburn, Edinburgh University in lane 4. Anna Morgan of the University of Stirling in lane 5. Emily Grant of the University of Aberdeen in 6. Scarlett Ferris of Dundee City Aquatics in 7. And Orla Adams from the University of Aberdeen in lane 8. Well, Katie Goodburn 1:02.88 in the heats was clearly the fastest. Scottish record, a pretty recent one set by Katie Shanahan in the ISL.
I think Edinburgh University are having a really, really good meet. Katie's put all her eggs in this basket. I would love to see her get close to that.
It'll be very interesting to see what she can go in. She came into this meet on 1:02.87. She pretty much equalled that in the heats, 1:02.88. So we certainly expect her to go faster here, particularly when she's gave herself a rest earlier on to focus on it.
Second half of the race will be her strengths with the breaststroke and the freestyle.
Starting off pretty strongly on the fly. And into the backstroke, she's got about a meter's advantage. Tight for second, maybe Drew Mckenzie in lane 2. And we've got the breaststrokers Cara Hanlon and Anna Morgan will be looking to make good use of what's coming up here. Of course, Katie Goodburn, a great breaststroke sprinter as well, so don't expect any weakness from her here. And a great freestyle sprinter to boot. So it's looking really good for Katie. Strong from Cara Hanlon there on the breaststroke, as you'd expect after her win earlier. But it's going to be Katie Goodburn. Nobody's going to catch her. Cara Hanlon will try to hold off Anna Morgan for second to make it Edinburgh University 1-2. Katie Goodburn comes in 1:01.71. So she'll be happy with that. A second faster than her entry time and her heat swim this morning. 1:03.34 for Cara Hanlon. She also improves by a second.
It's such a tricky event because you just don't have any time to get into a rhythm with any of the strokes. As soon as you've done a couple of strokes, you're already thinking about the turn and nailing that. And it's such a difficult event to perfect. And when you see guys internationally going 49 point, and just think, goodness.
I guess it's a great technical skills event, really, because it's all compressed into a short distance. So you really just focus on starts, turns, finishes, and transitions from stroke to stroke. So if you're great 100 IM, it must help into the 200, I would have thought, long course.
Yes, yeah, you see a lot of people, it's just a fun event, really, or it certainly was before. ISL's made it a bit more serious, but or just that kind of fast short course swimming, but it's a nice one to dip your hand in every wee while.
Unfortunately, there was a disqualification in that last one. Drew Mckenzie of City of Glasgow. Katie Goodburn, though, taking the win. Cara Hanlon second, Anna Morgan third. That is confirmed. And we go to the closing stages now of this meet with the 400 freestyle, which is going to be our climax. B final up first. We saw the lineup there. Owen Ray, Liam McLaughlin, Evan Davison, Pierce Greening, Luke Hornsey, Michael Flynn, Finlay Saunders and Angus Johnson. 4:00 to 4:09 entry times here, so I'm sure these swimmers will be certainly the ones with the 4:00 looking to get a 3-minute number. Pierce 4:00, Luke 4:02, Evan and Michael 4:04s in the heats. So Finlay Saunders fastest away, 25.68. So what's the secret to being a great 400 freestyler?
Well, I always thought that short course to long course, certain people kind of had their, obviously they've got their strengths, and I think a 400 free short course translates really well into a 200 free long course. And I think likewise with a good 200 fly long course, good 200 fly short course translates into a good 100 fly long course.
So explain the rationale for that.
I think the energy systems are more similar, and you see a lot of people stepping up an event, stepping up a distance short course compared to long course. So they'll be going in with a similar strategy to what they would do, I think, with a 200 free, just obviously double the length. 200 free long course would be a similar strategy to 400 free short course. So we're looking for guys to really build the second 50 and then trying to negative split, or trying to be as even split as possible through this.
So Pierce Greening has moved up nicely in that third 50, and he's now starting to, well, dominate is probably an overstatement, but he's in a good position ahead of Michael Flynn in 6, and then the early leader Finlay Saunders in 7, who's in danger now of being overhauled by Liam McLaughlin in 2 and Luke Hornsey in 5. At the halfway, 154.23. Roughly a 59 split there for Pierce. University of Stirling, first year there. Up from Cockermouth in the Lake District. And I'm sure he'll be relishing the University of Stirling environment. He's not shaking Michael Flynn off, though. He's going well. He's still a fair way back, but he's still in touch.
It's great to see athletes making that transition into university programs and still continuing to swim very, very fast. Katie Goodburn's a good example, who's transitioned into Edinburgh University from Warrender. And Angus Allison's another one who swam very well tonight, and he's made that transition this year. So, yeah.
Again, a 59 point for Pierce there. 253, 256.1 for Michael Flynn. So he's around 2.25 seconds back. So if he is going to get this back, he really has to start working it now. And I think that might be too much to ask. No doubt he's not going to be caught by the swimmers behind him. It's going to be a tussle for third between Liam McLaughlin in 2 and Luke Hornsey in 5. Maybe Luke just coming through. Luke had a fantastic 1500 yesterday, picking up the bronze medal overall, the 15-year-old. Now pushing it on to try and get third in the speed final in the 400 free. But it's going to be Pierce and Michael, 1 and 2. And Pierce bringing it in 3:52.97, so these swimmers comfortably in the 3-minute range. 3:56.11 for Michael Flynn and 4:01.80 for Luke Hornsey. So good swims from that top 3 there. Pierce Greening came into this meet with a 3:58 entry time, so take that down. Sub 3:53 is very acceptable. Michael Flynn likewise came in a 4:01, so he's vastly improved, and Luke Hornsey also a good improvement. So it comes to the last race of the weekend. It's the A final of the men's 400 metres freestyle. Cameron Travis of University of Aberdeen goes in lane 1. Andrew Bertoli of Ellesmere College in lane 2. Then we've got a trio of Stirling swimmers, Reg Lloyd in lane 3, Stephen Milne in lane 4, Jack Munsey in lane 5, Jude Lydiard goes for Edinburgh University in 6, and 2 more from University of Stirling, Angus Allison in 7, and Charlie Poole in 8. So Stephen Milne and Jack Munsey had a good contest in the 800 freestyle. Stephen Milne winning it moderately comfortably in the end, but Jack Munsey pushed him hard and took the 18-year-old's national age group record in the process. In the 400, in the 200 rather, it was Stephen Milne again taking the win, so didn't swim the 15, doesn't do that very often nowadays. So he's been looking for a hat-trick of 2, 4 and 8, and I, for one, would not bet against him. So away they go. Last race of a fabulous weekend. And Stephen Milne just edging into the lead in lane 4. Although, well, maybe not. Charlie Poole starting strongly in lane 8. I think it is Stephen who will come to the 50 with the lead. 25.27. And Jack Munsey now settling into second behind him. Charlie Poole up there, and Reg Lloyd in lane 3. Andrew Bertoli as well. 17-year-old from Ellesmere College, another exciting talent. The Scottish youngsters. But Stephen, you wouldn't describe as a Scottish youngster anymore, but very experienced international athlete, 53.15.
Fantastic for these younger athletes to be in there with an Olympic medalist. He's an absolute workhorse in training, and I remember swimming some sets with him, and it would he'd blow me away with some of the stuff he was capable of doing. So it's so good that he's been able to continue swimming up until 27 now. He's probably still got another few years to go, and I'm sure he'll be there in Birmingham next year.
Let's hope so, and let's hope he can really bring some strong form that we know he's got. He's had a little bit of struggles in the last 2 or 3 years. Of course, seen lots of young Turks coming through, the likes of Matt Richards snatching his spot on the 4x2 British team, but well, he will be a contender, I'm sure, in 2022, both from a Scottish perspective and a British perspective. 150.67 at the halfway mark for him, and that is about 0.8 faster than he was this morning. And he is looking good here. Jack Munsey in second spot. Reg Lloyd and Andrew Bertoli pretty close for third in lane 3 and 2. That's maybe where the contest is going to be. They're not that far behind Jack Munsey.
No, Jack's doing well.
2:19.
Not the only one.
2:19.77 then for Stephen. Leads by about 3 seconds. Well, let's just see. Reg Lloyd and Andrew Bertoli still tracking Jack Munsey. Nice turn from Jack there. He's, well, a bit more than the body length up on them, but Milne, 2:49.37. His pace has dropped in that third 100 by quite a bit. That was around a 59. He was going at 57.5. But maybe that's just about holding something back, because it looks like he's stretching that lead out again now. So 350 metre turn, 3:17. So this is going to...
Looks like he's picked up the pace, Stephen.
Yep, final turn for him on the final act of these championships. There's a good crowd watching this, looking to see Stephen bring this one home and take a hat-trick of freestyle wins, the 2, the 4 and the 8 now in his pocket. 3:44.35. He was over 2.5 seconds faster. Who gets second? Oh, it was close. In the end, Jack Munsey was pushed all the way by Reg Lloyd and Andrew Bertoli, but Jack holds on to second. Reg Lloyd third, and Andrew Bertoli just missing out by 0.7 in fourth place. 3:44.35 for Stephen Milne. I would think he'll be pretty content with that.
What was his last 100?
His last 100 was pretty much exactly a 55.
Wow, that's great.
He wears 2:49.37 at the 300, 3:44.35 at the finish. And we are finished.
Great.
So that's it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. Great way to finish off, seeing Stephen Milne take that one home from Jack Munsey and Reg Lloyd. We've had a great night swimming. A highlight from you, Cameron?
I liked the 100 back. We mentioned that at the top of the show, and yeah, that didn't disappoint actually. That was very good. And Tame Bruce winning the 50 back as well. That was unexpected, but she did it.
Yeah, so some great swims all round thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sorry that if you're a swimming parent, you couldn't be here this weekend. I'm sure you understand why. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. So from Swim Scene, from myself, Duncan McKinnell, commentators on the previous 2 days, Tony Rose and Paul Noble, thank you very much for your presence with us this evening and for the last 3 days. And for the last time, from the Royal Commonwealth Pool, I'll wish you a very good evening.